Hello my friends, it's Monday, so that is good time to read a few articles and hear my opinion regarding them in Weekly Links. My name is Alexander Barmin and it's my channel. Please don't forget to put a like and subscribe. Let's start.
Let's start with an article published on the dev.to portal. The article is obviously about courses that allow you to know more about Docker, and I'm not going to talk about all of them right now. Instead, I want to highlight how Docker can help you in day-to-day life. Docker is a set of platform as a service products that use operation system level virtualization to deliver software and packages called containers. Let's talk a little about it. First of all, a set of PaaS products. It's a Docker Hub with a huge number of already built Docker images. For example, if you need to run MongoDB for your application or Postgres, for example, you don't have to configure it on your own. You can take an image, create a container from it, and start using. It works the opposite side as well. You can package your software as an image, and next anyone who will use it can just download that image and immediately deploy. Okay, more likely the one single person who deploys your software is an engineer who deploys it into your production environment. And nevertheless, it solves a lot of problems. And first of all, it significantly simplifies the deployment because you don't need to follow 25 steps long manual for installing any single patch. All you need to do is just roll out a new tag of the image. Less errors, less efforts. Moving forward, the second link is about extensions for Visual Studio Code. It seems Visual Studio Code is one of the leading editors and it's possible to convert it to IDE just by installing dozens of extensions. As for me, Visual Studio Code is a fantastic tool. However, unfortunately, not all the programming languages are supported by it gracefully. If I'm asked to compare support of, for example, Java and Visual Studio Code and IntelliJ, I would say that Visual Studio Code became much better, but still not as good as IntelliJ. Nevertheless, there are some things where Visual Studio Code is a constant winner. It's a speed. It takes just a few seconds to open and ready to work immediately. Another important point to highlight is that Visual Studio Code has a great integration with GitHub. You can open it from your browser and make a change without even installing Visual Studio and checking out the code. Last but not least, killer feature is dev containers. Instead of installing SDKs to your computer, you can run them in Docker. What does it mean? In this case, the code is checked out into the Docker container, and runtime is also started in this Docker container. So it significantly simplifies onboarding. You don't need to install, for example, JDK, node environment, and so on. You can start immediately. Moving forward. The next link is an overview of features introduced in Java 20, and it seems I need to record a separate video to overview all of them. Actually, there are a lot of them. So right now I will just name the features with some brief comments. Project Lumen's second preview of Virtual Thread. Instead of using platform threads which are expensive, Java now offers virtual threads that are cheap. So virtual threads can be created in any number without additional costs. Project Loom and scoped variables and scoped values, obviously. We have virtual threads, so that there should be a meaningful replacement for the thread local. Scoped values should solve this issue and provide an easy way to make some context values available across multiple threads. Project Loom and structured concurrency second preview. No new features, just improvement of the structured task scope to support inheritance of scoped values. Project Ember and introduces new features and way of working with record types. So record types nowadays are first-class citizens in Java. And finally, Project Panama. It improves work with foreign functions and memory, as well as new incubator version of the Vector API. By the way, if this video has 100 likes, I will record a separate video with a detailed overview of newly added features of Java, so don't forget to put your like on the video. Number 4 is an article written by Hendrik Sworn about well-maintained software. On the one hand, nothing new. Just don't forget that you're writing software not for computers, but for humans. Keep eye on the naming and test coverage. Don't forget about logging and observability. On the other hand, it's always good to brush up these topics. We want to have a good sleep at night and not to be woken up by an alarm from the fallen production. So, read an article and keep writing better software. Last but not least, article in my list today is an article about transactions and connections management in Spring Framework. We all love Spring because it allows us not to write tedious logic again and again. For example, we can easily manage transactions just by putting a transactional notation on top of the method, and Spring Framework will make transaction management for us. Unsurprisingly, Spring does a lot of magic under the hood, and there is a component that is responsible for transaction management. It's Transaction Interceptor. It opens connections if necessary, creates new transactions again if necessary. Read the article in order to know how you could define a fine-grained configuration for this component.
That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like it, put a comment and subscribe to my channel. See you next week.